All right, I think we're going. So we're doing this on video because other students in the class are working on something else, and we want to be able to give you a demonstration of how the lab should go. So we've been talking about cellular respiration, but unless we bring living things into the lab, like crickets, which I'm not going to touch, and germinating peas, which I don't have any, we can't do a cell respiration lab. Instead, we're going to do a lab on anaerobic respiration, fermentation. And since it's not exactly practical for us to be making any alcoholic fermentation in the lab, we'll be using yeast. A couple things you're going to need. You're going to need some of these empty bottles that I worked very hard to empty for you. You're going to need some lukewarm water. Hot water will kill the yeast. Lukewarm's best. You're going to need sugar. You're also going to need a packet of equal and a packet of stevia. There we go. Okay, so equal is aspartame, and everybody drinks it because it's in all our sodas and our diet sodas, and it's supposed to be awful for you, but we're going to look at it today on what effect it has on yeast fermentation. Stevia, in case you didn't know about it, is actually a sweetener that comes from an herb. It actually comes from the stevia plant. They extract it. It has 0 calories. It's wonderful for you until they find something wrong with it. But for right now, it's pretty good, and I like it. You're also going to need some yeast. Now, yeast has to be kept in the fridge so that it remains inactive. Once it gets nice and warm, it's going to start fermenting. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of this lukewarm water, because I can't pour, and I don't want to spill it all over my table. We're going to pour some of this lukewarm water into our bottle. So I tried this with less water, and what happens is you get gas, but you don't get enough gas to make anything good happen. So we are going to use about a cup of water. That comes out roughly to around 240 milliliters. If you go a little over or under, it's okay. This isn't one of those labs where we're going to have to be absolutely specific. Now, it calls for 2 packets of equal or 2 packets of stevia. I'm going to try this with sugar first because I want to see what happens. I'm going to set this to the side for one important step. We are going to measure the amount, that's Cora. We're going to measure the amount of yeast gas production. We're using a balloon. Putting a balloon on top of that bottle and watching how much it inflates. In order to measure the inflate, that's Jack. You guys are so stealth. We're going to measure the circumference of balloon. How do we do that? We only have flat rollers. You take a piece of string. So you're going to take a piece of string and you're going to lay it around the balloon before it inflates, before you put it on the bottle. And in order to make sure that that balloon gets marked at the same place, take a Sharpie and make a line on the balloon and make sure that that's the place you measure all the time. All right, that being said, my balloon does not have a mark, but that's okay because we're not really measuring it for this one. We just want to make sure it works. So we're going to take, each packet contains roughly 2 teaspoons of what would be an equivalent to sugar. So I'm going to take, first I'm going to take 2 teaspoons of the sugar, which doesn't want to pour. Aww. 1, 2. And we're going to make sure that that's nice and mixed in. Once you have things in your bottle, don't shake them. I don't want to clean them up. The next thing we're going to do is put in 2 teaspoons of our yeast. 1, 2. Yeast does not smell good, folks, so try not to spill it. It also doesn't want to come out of my funnel. So we'll just try pouring it in. Give it a little stir around. Don't shake it too much until you get that balloon on the top. And make sure that your balloon is capped down pretty high. Now, crazy interesting part, give another good shake. Now you want that sugar and that water and that yeast to get nice and dissolved in there. So, let's see if I can get this somewhere that you guys can see it. Nothing's going to happen right away. What you need to do now is every 5 minutes you need to measure the circumference of your balloon. Now, since that means that you're going to have time, you should take this time to open the computers that are laying all over the place and do one of the tutorials or the quizzes. Please don't just stand here staring at this very, very interesting balloon. Hopefully I'll be able to do some time frame pictures of this balloon because I really don't want to sit here for a good 15-20 minutes either. Okay, I'll keep checking back. See, nothing's happening yet. Okay, we're at 5 minutes. Thanks, I know I look great. Thanks. And I know, I'm hoping yours is getting a little fuller. It's happening. And if you feel the bottle, I know this sounds odd, but if you feel the bottle, it's warm. You know, we talked about that when cellular respiration is happening, that it's creating this ATP that the cells are going to use. I don't know where to look. Okay, so it's creating the ATP that the cells are going to use. But the other thing that's happening is that it's giving off heat. This is that heat energy that we talked about naturally when things breaking apart in the cell. Not only are you creating energy that you're going to use, but you're creating energy that heats the body, keeps everyone warm. So it's getting there. This is 5 minutes. This way, this way. Yay! It's getting there. So at this point, you would take your first measure. Now, when you take your first measure, try not to lift the balloon up too high because you're messing with the way that things are going to flow in and out of it. Just kind of let it go. Don't move your bottle too much. Let it be as sedentary as you possibly can and just take that measurement. All right. See you in 5. About 7 minutes and my balloon just decided to pop up straight in the air. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stop recording, and what you're going to do is you're going to keep taking measurements for 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, take a measurement of your balloon. Now, before the end of the class period, if it's getting close to the end, I want you to take this apart, dump this beautiful, yummy concoction into the sink, and rinse your bottle out. You're going to need to build a graph of your equal versus your sugar. And if there's enough stevia available for everyone, you're going to have to add that to the graph as well. And make sure that you have your circumference of your balloon in that. So data table and graph of everything from this moment. Thanks.